Hi, I'm Nisha. I'm mom to 14. My channel is Mama Bear to Many because we have many. So we are going to go over our November menu today. She was grumpy earlier. I started a video and um, she decided that she was going to be very grumpy because she's getting tea. Yes. So I'm here with some of my children, my older daughters. I have three of my older daughters here, two here, and then one across that didn't want to be on camera. So last month we did October menu planning, and we just did the month straight. But I also mentioned that I go shopping um, at the big city store whenever we can get there. So Sam's Club and stuff is in the big city, which is 2 hours away. So I try to plan things around there. We also have doctors there. So this month we are going the middle of October, and then next month we're going like in the middle of the month. So I want to make sure that my middle of October shopping is going to carry from middle of October through to middle of November, but I don't have middle of November covered. And I should have most of these things at the house already. But if there's a couple things or a couple seasonings that I need to do, then we can add that then. So first, what I'm doing is going back to the meals that I have prepped already. And as you can see, most of these are already used up. I spoke last week about how I make the little marks next to it once I've used it up. So we've used up most of those freezer meals, or have them spoken for the month of October. So the only things that we don't have are 2 meals of Italian pork. Those are the only ones that we don't have used. I probably will do a meal prep day at some point, but don't have that planned out yet. So I'm not going to add that to the menu. If I do, then I can always change that up a little bit. So we went over and we were talking about some things that we have lots of because we want to use up some of the stuff that we have lots of, because our goal is to like make our freezers go down so that we can have room for meat. So we have one pig that we just put in the freezer, and then we'll have chickens that we're doing this coming week and a pig that we're doing this week. And then following, we'll be putting cows in the freezer. So we really want to eat down what's in our freezers. So that's our main focus for this November menu, is to be eating things down out of the freezer. So what are some things that we have lots of?
Pumpkin, butternut squash.
Say it louder.
Pumpkin, butternut squash, pork, chicken, kale, potatoes.
Freezer muffins, berries. We did have some maple sausage patties as well in there. So we are going to go through and do our breakfast first. We came up with some breakfast ideas together from. We actually usually use a lot of the same ideas month to month because they just work well for our family, and it's something that we have a lot of. So we have cows and we have raw dairy. So some people have dairy, some people don't have dairy in our house, but raw dairy, along with, we buy coconut yogurt, and so that works really well for a meal. We can do oats. So oatmeal is a very um, cheap thing to eat. I want to actually include more oatmeal in my diet because I'm a nursing mom and I need to keep my milk supply. And somebody mentioned that oatmeal would really help with that. So I think what we're going to do is start off with um, doing the oatmeal 3 times a week. So our oatmeal is, I'll do that Monday. So our oatmeal is just plain organic rolled oats, and then we add whatever to it. So a lot of times we'll add berries or berries with some other type of thing. So like maybe flaxseed. We just did the pumpkin seed puree, so that will probably be top on our list of what we're adding to it. Um, we can also add, say, like nut butter or other types of purees, but berries, anything that you want to add to your oatmeal. But we usually don't add just sugar or something like that. Sometimes we'll add, if we have a lot of jams, which we have a lot of jams this year, if it's a quick morning and we don't have much fruit or whatever in the freezer, then we might add, like, everyone can choose, between two different types of jams that they want to add in there, and then just stir that around, and that makes for a yummy, delicious warm breakfast. So I'm going to do 3 days of oatmeal. So I chose Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then on Sunday, I'm going to make that be quiche. Sunday, we go to church. And then we eat lunch at church. And then usually I'll explain the supper thing at home or whatever. We'll have our meal at home or whatever, except for the first Saturday of the month. And then that will be a little bit different. I mean, Sunday, the first Sunday of the month, we're going to be going to a church that does like a singing thing the first Sunday. So, yeah, so I'm going to do quiche for the mornings on Sunday. I'm also going to add here donuts because my kids, I don't know about your kids, but my kids, the little ones, they are starving by the time we get to church. So I'd like to just be able to give them something. Last week I had bought donuts at the grocery store or at a convenience type store, and then some people had belly aches after, and it wasn't a good thing because we're not eating wheat. So we made some for the freezer, and we'll be making more for the freezer. My daughter just made some pumpkin ones that had oat flour, and so we'll try to get a video up with those. Those turned out great, so we're gonna put a video for those because those were good. If you saw the other video about the apple ones, we made apple donuts as well. So for Sundays, we're going to do quiche, and then we'll bring donuts and we'll have those for the trip there, or we might make extra platters if we have time and then bring those and just share those with the people at church. Okay, so what else did we have?
We had muffins
Yogurt.
and smoothie and yogurt.
Yogurt and then muffins and smoothie. So let's do, what do we want to do? 2 of yogurts or muffin and smoothie? So we have Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday left.
Probably a gallon would probably do 2 meals, so you probably do 2 yogurts.
Okay, so let's do yogurt. So we're going to do yogurt on Tuesday. Then we have fresh or fruit or canned berries. So yogurt and berries. I write it out like this so that everyone knows exactly what's expected. If I just write yogurt, then sometimes people would just like get yogurt out and not have anything else. And then of course they're going to eat more and more and more and more, and they're not going to be getting all the nutrition of like frozen vegetables or whatever else. So I'm going to write yogurt and berries and granola. The last batch of granola, I actually, my daughter made that, and I just added on the top, I added some of those dehydrated apples that we did in the other video, along with raisins, and then I added some pumpkin seed puree to boost the zinc and the iron and everything. So that's already mixed in there. So the granola will have that in that. So we'll do Tuesday and Thursday yogurt and berries. There's a fly hanging around here. Berries and granola. So we just have 1 day left, and that's going to be Saturday. So I'm going to write muffin and smoothie for Saturday. So our smoothies are basically what I do is I'll take roughly a cup of berries, frozen berries, and then I'll put a banana in there, and I put a handful, about 3/4 of a cup of greens. We freeze our kale or beet greens or whatever and put that in there. So that will use some of the greens up that we have in the freezer and some of the berries up. And then I fill that up with either regular milk or almond milk, depending on who it's for. We usually do 2 blenders full of regular milk and then 1 blender of one or two blenders, depends who's drinking, of almond milk. And then I'll add some other sort of powder to that. So it might be like a protein powder, it might be like pumpkin puree or blueberry puree or some type of puree to it, like maca root powder or something like that. Okay, so I'm thinking it is cold here. So I'm thinking I'm writing these out, but I'm thinking about um, lunches. What do you guys think?
Soups.
Soups. So, what are some soups that we want to incorporate this month?
Pumpkin or butternut squash because we have got a lot of those from the garden this year, and um, split pea and chili.
Chili is good. Yeah.
Um, Probably lentil because we'll have the pork. Maybe, I don't know. What
Okay.
else?
Mm. Kaylee, any thoughts?
uh, for different soups.
Different lunches.
Different
So we have
lunches.
soups.
Um, Red beans and rice was one thing, and then were we gonna do like porks for lunch or supper?
Probably supper.
And we were saying jag too.
Okay, so how many days a week will I finish up writing the breakfast? That one fly just keeps landing like directly on the camera. The weirdest thing. Um. So, what did I just say? I have no clue what I just said. That's good. My daughter, I haven't really said this, but one of my daughters, she woke up sick. She's 2, and she's been teething for the past 2 weeks, just really just having a hard time with her teeth. So last night I thought that she had issues with her teeth. She kept asking for water, so I gave her water, but she woke up with a fever, and she has been sleeping pretty much all morning. It is like lunchtime now, and she is still sleeping. I hope she's sleeping it off. So my brain is just kind of scattered um, with that, but my brain is usually scattered anyway, so it's no difference. Okay, so let's see. Wrote those. Should we use red or orange for lunch? Orange. Okay, so let's make 2 days a soup day. Actually, you know what? Let's do suppers and then we can fill in the lunches after. So suppers, I'm going to do Saturday is going to be um why didn't I write that? Okay. Saturdays are going to be soup day. So it's just going to be a big pot of soup and I'm not going to write down what kind of soup it is because I'm going to work with my younger children on making different types of soups. So I'm just going to write soups and I'm going to allow them to choose from canned goods. We can do beef stew, we can do chicken noodle, or different types of soups. So those two, I want all my middle children to know how to make. So I want them to really become proficient in that. So I'm just going to write soup with kids on all of those. Soup with kids. Soup. You'd think all these flies would be gone. So we live on a farm and we have a bunch of fresh produce. So now the flies want to be all around the place. We thought that we were all done with them, and then we got a warm spree, and they all like popped back up when we were doing the pumpkins. So they must have just been hiding for a moment. Okay, soup with the kids on Saturdays. Okay, so I'm gonna go over what we're gonna do for Sundays. We did this last year, and it worked really well. So we will take a roast. Say we're doing chicken, we would have 3 to 4 chickens in a roaster, and we'd line them up, and then we just take potatoes and root vegetables, carrots, beets, whatever we might have for that, and we dump it all in the bottom. And then we put seasoning, some coconut oil over the chickens, throw some seasoning on top, and then add about 2 quarts of water to the bottom, maybe a little bit more. I really want about this much on the bottom of my roaster. And then I put the lid on and I turn it on the lowest setting. And so that would cook all day while we're gone at church into the afternoon. We get home maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then we crank it up and do whatever needs to happen. Sometimes we might need a little bit of oil on top. Again, just drizzle a little bit more oil just to give it that more crispness, and then turn it up. And that will be our dinner that night. So then when we have that night, then the next day we're able to make a full meal for lunch and dinner out of what we just had for dinner that night before. So that's what we're going to plan to do for um, our Sundays. So right now we just have pork and we have the chickens. So I'll rotate pork meal with chicken meal. Oh, I'm doing red for
Are we
supper.
even going to do that on the first Sundays?
Yeah, because we can just bring that with us, probably. If we decide that we're not going to do that for first Sundays and bring that, we could probably just bring the roaster with us and then do that. But I'm not quite sure. I don't really know. Maybe I should leave Sundays open. I'll leave the first Sunday open so I can figure that out. I don't know. So, let's see. On the 13th, we'll do a pork roast with, I'm just writing root veggies. And then on the 27th, we're doing a pork roast with root veggies. Then on the Mondays, we can choose, so it would be for 2 meals. So what we would do is we take the rest of what we had and make it into 2 meals. So we could do 2 of the same meal, or we could do 2 separate meals. For this month, getting back into the routine of things, I'm probably going to do 2 of the same meals. So one is going to be pork carnitas, and the other one is going to be pulled pork. So, and that will be for lunch and dinner, because there will be enough pork off of that. We intentionally cook extra. Like we could probably eat 3 chickens, but then we would boil it down and have the meat from the 4th and what's left over on the 3rd, depending on how big the birds are. Mm-hmm. So, oops, pulled pork. What are we going to serve with the pulled pork and the pork carnitas?
Probably like applesauce and whatever, if we have any fresh vegetables. I don't think that we will, but canned vegetables like green beans or carrots or.
So pork carnitas would be on cassava. Would be on a cassava tortilla. And then we'll serve that with canned fruit. If we have fresh fruit, then we can use fresh fruit, but we'll just plan for canned fruit. Okay, and then the pulled pork is a little bit different. We will serve that probably over rice. With applesauce. What else did you say? And a canned veggie.
Yeah.
A canned veggie. So we had to stop for a minute because little Miss is teething, and she has been really grumpy today, poor thing. She got her bottom 2 teeth in, and she didn't know if she wanted to nurse or not, so she started screaming. Okay, so the girls are out doing other things now, and I'm just going to go over. We don't usually do this all together. I usually just do it by myself. So it was kind of, we do other things together, like they might we're working on getting them to the point where they're able to do these things for themselves, which we have to train everyone. And everyone needs to be trained or learn in their own, way or manner. So I'm just going to go over what we did choose for our menu. So Tuesdays will be, let's see, yogurt, berries, and granola, and then leftovers for lunch. And then supper will be fish patties, sweet potato fries, and veggies. Wednesday will be oatmeal, butternut squash soup for lunch, jag, and applesauce. They actually finished up. I had got it to a certain point, and then I had them finish up whatever was left over here. So the jag and applesauce is for 2 of the Wednesdays. And then for the other Wednesdays, we have cranberry chicken, because we actually found out that we had 2 cranberry chickens in the freezer that weren't being used up or accounted for. So 2 cranberry chickens will be part of that as well. So 2 cranberry chickens. And then so Thursday will be yogurt, berries. This yellow is really hard to read. Yogurt, berries, and granola, chili for lunch, and maple sausage patties with acorn squash and veggies. So acorn squash is just the acorn squashes. We cut them in half and we bake them upside down for about an hour, maybe 50 minutes, something like that. We bake them upside down. Then we flip them over and we put either butter or coconut oil and maple syrup inside, and the kids like those. Well, most of the kids like them. At first, they didn't think that they were going to like them, and then we asked for them to eat them, and they ate them, and they had the sweetness of the maple syrup. So they're like, "Oh yeah, we do like that." Okay, so we're going to have that for that's going to be 2 days, 2 Thursdays, and then for the other 2 Thursdays will be for lunch will be. So I make this. It's almost like a casserole that I made up. So you just cook up pasta. I take 3 pounds of pasta, and I'm going to take diced chicken and um, pepperoni and sauce. So basically, I just mix all that together. Pasta, probably I'll do a quart of finely diced chicken, like that we already canned, and then 2 packages of pepperoni and chop that up. And then our homemade sauce, I'll do 3 or 4 quarts of sauce mixed in with the 3 pounds of noodles and stir that up. And we call it like pizza casserole because we really miss we used to have Friday night was pizza night, and we miss having the pizza, but it does give that like pizzeria Italian type flavor in there, so we call it pizza casserole. So we're gonna have that, and then for dinners we'll have red beans. We'll cook in the Instant Pot, and then what I do is I cook about a pound of red no 2 pounds of red beans, and I buy it in bulk, so I always forget like how many cups is a pound. So 4 cups of red beans, and so we do 4 cups of red beans, and then we cook that in the Instapot. When that's done, I take 2 quarts of homemade salsa, and I dump those in, and I stir that up, and that's our red beans and rice, and it's really good. So we usually serve that over white or brown rice. It's kind of odd with wild rice. I don't really like it like that, but and then we'll serve that with usually with applesauce. So then Friday we have oatmeal, leftovers, and 2 days are Italian pork, which are in the freezer. That will be served with rice and veggies. And then the 2 other days will be honey mustard pork with rice and veggies. Excuse me. Both of those will need to prep. I wrote a little note on the side that those will need to get prepped before this month. Then Saturday is the soup with the kids. And then Sunday, I did decide on that Sunday not to do a meal, not to do like our roast type meal. We're going to do baked macaroni and cheese for church, and then we're going to do beef stew with canned beef to take with us. So we'll do those 2 for Sunday. Then that means that Monday we wouldn't have leftovers. So Monday we're going to do spaghetti and meatballs on the 7th. This is, but then so then the following Sunday on the 13th will be remember the quiche for breakfast. We'll eat at church, and then we'll do a pork roast with root veggies. That's for the 13th and the 27th. And the 20th, we're going to do chicken. So I'll do 4 chickens with root veggies in the Instapot. So the pork, we were going to do the pork carnitas. I already mentioned that. And then the pulled pork with the chickens, one meal is going to be soup and one meal is going to be pot pie. I'll probably be able to make enough soup that we'll have one freezer meal of soup as well to put away. And then Tuesday, no, I started at Tuesdays. So that is it. We have got it all set. So I wrote my notes to make Italian pork and honey mustard pork and to make up some cassava tortillas beforehand. So I'll show this to you, and then I'll show you my shopping list. It's really messy. What do you think, pretty girl? And this side. Okay. So I'll get my shopping list. So what we do is we have planned those meals. We have planned those meals according to what we already have in our freezers. So there's not a whole lot that we need to buy. So for those meals that we need to have, we'll need to buy sweet potatoes. So I write it like this. Then every time we need one, we just put a line. So we'll say, okay, we need a sweet potato here, a sweet potato here. So this is actually going, our shopping list is going from the 18th of this month. That's when I'm going shopping. And then it will go, goodness. It will go until the 18th of the 17th of the following month. I think that's when we have to go to the city again. Okay. So sweet potatoes, we need 6 of those. We need 5 eggs, but 5 eggs for us is actually 5 18-packs of eggs. Salad mix, we'd need, salad mix is one thing that I usually pick up weekly because I need to be in town for pig food anyway. So 2 salad mixes. I need a fly swatter. So 2 salad mixes per week. So almond milks, we need 3. Bananas, we need a bunch of bananas. Bananas, we have needed for a couple recipes, but we'll also eat those fresh because it's a cheap fruit. And most mornings we just have fruit for a snack. And then sausage, we actually need chorizo sausage to make the jag, and we'll need 4 of those. And then she wrote rice and then a question mark because we were using a lot of rice this month to see what we had and if we needed to do that, which we did end up needing to get either organic white rice or balsami or whatever I can get organic that's a white type rice or a brown type rice. For us, it's been really difficult to get brown rice, but we can usually get a non-GMO organic from BJ's. So, and then the pepperoni, we need 4 packages of pepperoni. So then that's on the top, and then see how that's to do our meals would be on the top. And then on the bottom here, we have a standing list. If something gets low, then the kids are supposed to write something on the. Ooh, you got it. They're supposed to write something on the board. We have a whiteboard in the kitchen, but they don't always do that. So some of these are from the whiteboard, and then some of them I asked for the kids to check out some of the bulk bins. So I have walnuts, pecans, however you say it, ketchup, corn, tomato paste, that rice, cornmeal, almond flour, gluten-free flour, and organic cornstarch. So what I'll usually do is after we have our list, we'll usually take we usually will take different sources of being able to look things up, and then the last last month it worked really well. So for the things that we need, we'd actually look online ahead of time to see what the cheapest price was at each store within like that area would be. So we have like a not a Whole Foods because that's an actual store. It's called the Natural Living Center. It's I think a Mennonite owned store that you can buy bulk grains and stuff in, and I have to call that in usually about 2 weeks ahead of time. So like I know our oats are getting low, so I'll need to call in to get 50-pound bags of oats. Where'd it go? So we'll do that. But so the rest of the things we'll look on our phones to see if Walmart or Sam's or BJ's is cheaper. Those are the 3 stores that we're able to get at the city. And then we'll write down like who has the cheapest and what store we're going to go. And then we decide, because we usually make our recipes from our pantry. From there, we'll decide what we want to buy in bulk, what seems like it's a decent price, and then we'll buy whatever in bulk, that month. And so we'll have it for the following month. I'm pretty sure I'm going to set a certain amount of dollar, like a dollar amount. Sometimes I'll do this. So we did not raise chickens this year, and I found out that Sam's did actually have organic chicken meat. So I'll probably take something like, I'll take $500 and say, okay, $500 is going towards chicken because I'm not able to get it around here and that type of stuff. So I might set a dollar amount for a specific item, or I might set a dollar amount for how much I want to spend on stocking up. So this baby's getting hungry, and I'm going to feed her, and we will see you next time. Bye.